Faith is often misunderstood as simply believing that God can do something. It sounds right on the surface, but there's a deeper layer most people never step into. You can believe God is able and still live like He won't. You can say you trust Him and still carry anxiety, still try to control outcomes, still worry through the night. That's because faith is not just belief in God's ability. It is alignment with what God has already said. It's not just knowing truth, it's coming into agreement with it. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are agreeing with something, not just in your words, but in your thoughts, your reactions, and the way you carry what life brings. Doubt is divided agreement. It's when part of you believes God and part of you believes something else. Fear is agreement with the wrong voice. It's coming into alignment with a negative outcome before it even happens. But faith is when you choose to agree with God's truth, regardless of how things feel in the moment. And that's where it gets real, because feelings can be loud, situations can look convincing, circumstances can feel overwhelming. In those moments, truth doesn't always feel true. But faith was never meant to be built on feelings, it's built on what God has already spoken. So the real question becomes, what are you agreeing with? Because whatever you agree with, you give power to. If you agree with fear, your life starts to move in that direction. If you stay in doubt, you remain stuck between two positions. But when you come into agreement with God, something shifts inside of you before anything changes around you. Your posture changes, your thinking shifts, your response becomes different. And that's where faith begins to move. You don't build faith by trying harder or forcing yourself to feel stronger. Faith doesn't grow from effort, it grows from alignment. It's not about pushing harder, it's about shifting what you agree with. When fear says everything is falling apart, you replace it with what God said. When doubt says it won't work, you come back into agreement with His promise. When your situation says there's no answer, you align with the truth that God already is the answer. At first, it might feel small, it might not feel powerful, but every time you shift your agreement, you are repositioning your faith over time. What once felt weak becomes steady because you are no longer reacting to what is happening. You are responding from what God has already declared. And here's something even deeper. God doesn't move based on how strong your emotions are. He moves where there is agreement. That's why two people can hear the same promise, yet one walks in it and the other stays stuck. It's not about who believed harder. It's about who aligned deeper. Alignment is not a one-time decision. It's daily. Every day, voices are speaking. Your past, your fears, your circumstances, your thoughts, and God's truth. And you get to choose which one you agree with. So if your faith feels weak, don't try to force it to be stronger. Check your alignment. What have you been agreeing with? Because the moment you shift your agreement, you don't just feel different. You position yourself for God to move, not because you convinced Him, but because you finally came into agreement with what He already said. That is where real faith lives. Faith is not about trying to reach God, it's about coming into agreement with a reality He has already established. The more you align with Him, the less power everything else has over you. What once felt overwhelming begins to lose its grip, not because it disappeared, but because it no longer has your agreement. And when your agreement shifts, your entire life begins to follow. That's when faith stops being something you talk about and becomes something you actually live.